Are you planning to apply for a loan or a credit card? Did you know that your credit score is one of the most important things that institutions track? Welcome to TOI Wallet Talks. In this episode, Shweta Jain of Investography explains in detail how you can get a good credit score, what are the strict do's and don'ts, how you can get your credit score rectified, and how safe is it to check your credit score online for free. What is the importance of credit score and how good or bad? I mean, what is a good credit score and what is a bad credit score?
A credit score is important because it helps the lender understand where you stand, how creditworthy you are. So it's a three-digit score, right? So between 300 and 900. So anywhere between below 580, I would say, is a bad score. Between 580 and say 750 is a average kind of score. Above 750 is a good score.
Okay, and what are the factors that determine a good credit score? And do you think credit score actually very accurately affects a credit, worthiness of an individual?
So there are multiple things that affect credit score. One is, of course, your payments on time, so your EMIs, your any debit that is happening to your account regularly, whether it's an investment or whatever bills that you're paying. If there are check bounces or rejects, that impacts. So any rejects, I would say, impact your credit history, your credit score, and how much are you utilizing your credit worthiness, right? So basically, if you have a 5 lakh limit, if you're under 30% utilization, your credit utilization is a good. If you're overextending yourself, right? So if you have a 5 lakh limit and say you're all the time taking a loan or using the card up to say 4.5 lakh or even 5 lakhs regularly, then that shows that you are under stress, and that impacts your credit score and history later. The other thing that does impact is how many loans and credit cards are you applying in a short period of time. If there's too many, then it will get negatively impacted.
Okay, but no, so coming back to my second part of my question, that how accurately do you think the credit score mechanism currently reflects the credit worthiness of an individual?
I think it's pretty accurate in most cases, but it does take about 30 to 45 days to get anything updated. So during that time, people may find that there are discrepancies, or if there are errors, then that happens because while a CIBIL is the where you check your score and where this is your CIBIL score, right? But CIBIL doesn't directly take data from you, so you can't really update anything or send anything there. They take information from the credit institutes. So anything that you need updated will have to go through these institutes, and that might take time. So sometimes I feel that impacts negatively or can give an inaccurate score. The other time that I think it does give an inaccurate score is when if you're a guarantor of a loan or something and that has not been paid. So while you're not directly responsible, you're equally responsible for it because you have been the guarantor. So if there has been lapses on that, it will definitely impact your score, and that sometimes is inaccurate because while you may have everything sorted out, somewhere if you signed as a guarantor, that may not give the correct picture for you.
Okay, but let's say I'm just starting out at my career. I've just started earning my salary. Say it's been a year or so. I don't have a credit card. I don't have a loan. There are no major, factors that typically determine my credit score that will come into play. And I'm applying for a credit card for the first time. Then how is credit score of any importance then?
So when you're just starting out, usually credit and your first credit card especially, so at that point there isn't really an impact because that's when you're starting to build a history. So that's really not important. But from then on, how you behave, and it might be as soon as the first 3 months that they start tracking your data. At that time, something goes wrong, then it can get negatively impacted. But otherwise, that's a great chance for you to build a good credit score. Because that does take time. And once something goes negative or something goes wrong, then it takes time to sort of rebuild that credit worthiness or that score.
Okay, so coming to building a good credit score, what are some of the things that I should definitely do to make sure I have a good credit score, and what are the strict don'ts?
So one of the things that you have to do is pay everything on time. So your EMIs have to be on time, and anything that you are sort of giving out a check for or paying, you have to make sure that you do have the money in the bank to pay that, so it doesn't get rejected. So one is that, definitely. I think the don't would be, don't overextend yourself, and don't take too much credit, even if you're eligible. So say if I'm eligible for say 5 lakh, that's what the card companies will call you and say, ma'am, you're eligible for 5 lakh, please extend your credit limit. Ideally, don't do that. Do say maybe 40-50% up to that, and use only 30% of that. So that really makes sure that you're building your credit score correctly. The other thing that people can do is have a combination of secured and unsecured loans. What we see today is mostly people just taking unsecured loans because those are the easiest to avail, right? It's usually even at the just a click. So making sure that you do have a combination of secured and unsecured. Secured would be your home loan, your car loan, which has an asset attached to it. Unsecured would be anything else, like a personal loan or credit card. So make sure that you have a combination. So that really works well.
Okay. But one, how do I check my credit score? What frequency should I be checking my credit score at? And others, all these portals that allow you to check your credit score for free, are they safe in terms of, exposing your financial details, transactions to them like that?
So you can check your credit score on CIBIL.com. So there you can pay a fee and check your score. But of course, we like things for free. So we have these websites that give us our credit score for free, but you do have to share your information. So remember, when you're sharing your CIBIL score with them, you're sharing a lot of your information, your PAN, your credit history, your credit score. I mean, a lot of that information is with these portals as well. And I'm not really in favor of doing that. Because you're just unnecessarily sharing this information. Of course, one is they would come back to you with products and hound you with products that they would want to sell to you. But the other part is just data security, right? That you're exposing yourself to a lot of that risk unnecessarily. So I would definitely not recommend doing that. You can check your credit score once in 6 months. I think that's good enough. A lot of people do move to 3 months frequency when you're changing something, right? When you're trying to work on your credit score, maybe check every 3 months. So that really will help you understand if things are on track. But at least once in 6 months, if you're checking, I think that's good enough.
And if you're following the thumb rules that you just suggested about not overextending yourself, making your payments on time, then as it is, your score would be right.
It would be, yes. And especially when you're applying for something, you do get information that, somebody is checking your credit score. So you do get that information. When you check your credit score with one of these portals, you would know that. So that's something called a soft inquiry. When you check your credit score through a loan agency or, a loan institute, then they are doing a hard inquiry. So the more number of hard inquiries, the more impact it will have on your credit score. Soft inquiries don't usually have a impact on your credit score. So when
Okay.
you're checking or when these portals are checking for free for you, that really doesn't have an impact.
Okay, but what about discrepancies and disputes? Where what if there is something wrongly reflecting in my credit score and I have applied for a loan? So how does one get that correction made in a short duration of time so that it doesn't impact either my ability to get a loan or my ability to negotiate for a good interest rate?
So you have to get this through the credit institute only. Like I mentioned, CIBIL doesn't take information from you. It takes information only from the institutes. So you have to go back to the institute, which is reflecting any of the information wrongly, whether it's employment, whether it's contact, whether it's PAN, whether it's any payment history, anything where you find there's a discrepancy. You have to go through the credit institute and get it rectified through them. Usually, it takes 7 to 15 days for that to get corrected.
Okay, and Shweta, finally, coming to some of these instant loans that are very popular these days, how important is a credit score in securing an instant loan?
So usually it is important, but what happens are these are at the speed, right? That's how they're selling it. So they do disperse the loan before and make sure that they're checking the credit scores after. Sometimes people feel that maybe they're not checking because it is instant, but they do check later, and it could work out against you because they might go back and increase the rates later. They do have these clauses. They might increase the EMIs, they might increase the tenures, whatever works, with them. But they do go back and check. It isn't that just because it's instant, they're not checking these information. They are.